Using annotations in literature class. As readers, we follow the plot, we visualize and form opinions, we make connections, we wonder, we become emotionally invested. Doing these things makes you a successful reader and should be consistently practiced and developed. Our goal is to do this through annotations. Annotation is the process of thoughtful reading and making notes as you study or read a text. It's the action of writing comments on a text as a way to further your own unique understanding, to draw conclusions, or identify individual areas of confusion. In general, annotating may include highlighting a phrase or sentence and including a comment, circling a word that needs defining, posing a question when something isn't fully understood, and writing a short summary of a key section. In addition, annotating strategies will include predicting, determining importance, tracking key vocabulary, monitoring comprehension, and making inferences, and questioning. Annotating is useful because it will help you concentrate and better understand what you read and better remember your thoughts and ideas when you revisit the text. Let's talk a little more about each strategy, starting with predicting. This means I anticipate what is coming up in the text based on what I've learned or what I already know about the topic. I can mark this with a P, and then I can write about it by using sentence stems like I predict in this passage, I think blank will happen. It's important to note that annotations are unique to your understanding and analysis. No one's annotations will look exactly like someone else's, because we all approach text in different ways. The second strategy is to make inferences. Making inferences means I make decisions about what the evidence means. I can mark this with an I, and then I can write about it using sentence starters like, when the text says blank, I think it means blank. And also, based on blank, I can infer blank. To make an inference, I have to 1. Look at what the text says, 2. Identify the place that I can connect my background knowledge, whether it's personal or academic, and 3. Think about what the text implies. And the picture describes when it's raining, that's when you'll often see people using umbrellas. So if it rains, you can infer that people will use umbrellas. Okay, next is questioning. This means I read to clarify my understanding, and I wonder about what I read. I ask why, and I can mark this with a question mark. I can write about this using sentence stems such as who, what, where, and when. I wonder, what if, and why does. The next annotating strategy is determining importance. This means I identify significant details in the text, which I might use as evidence in a discussion or a writing assignment about the text. I can mark this with an exclamation point, and then I can write about this using, for example, a sentence stem like, this is important because blank, my evidence will be blank, or the key point is blank. And so I have a picture here of a sleuth, and sleuth is a detective, and they're constantly looking at clues and trying to determine importance. And eventually it's detectives are seeking to have an aha moment when they discover meaning of what they're investigating. The next annotating strategy is tracking key vocabulary. This means I mark the most important words for understanding a text and identify where class vocabulary words are used. I can mark this with by circling the vocab word. So an example of an academic vocabulary word might be one that describes characterization. So you could circle words that relate to this class vocabulary word, or you could also circle words that maybe you don't know the meaning of. So for example, I have the word kazart, which goes beyond the definition of mere shock and surprise. Kazart also implies an almost doom-rooted acceptance of whatever grim situation has suddenly emerged. Next is summarizing. Summarizing means I am restating the meaning of a text in my own words every time I finish a section of my reading. I can mark this with an equal sign, and I can write about it by using sentence starters such as in this section blank, or you could say in this section someone did something, and then you can write when it happened, where, and why. Another example would be to write the main idea of the part I just read was blank. A lot of times people summarize at the end of sections or chapters, but feel free to summarize whenever you feel it's necessary. Try to keep your summary to a couple sentences in length. Our final annotating strategy is monitoring comprehension. This means I can identify the part of the text where I stopped understanding what it was saying, so that I can figure out how to get unstuck. I can mark this with a stop sign, and then I can write about it using a sentence stem such as I'm stuck because blank, I don't understand blank, I'm confused by blank, and I think this means blank. The first step to clean up your confusion is to keep track of what's confusing you. The questions you ask to monitor your comprehension are great questions to ask the next day when we debrief the prior day's reading. So what does this mean for you? The end of your goal is that you'll be able to independently construct meaning and draw conclusions using annotations in your text. So, and the way that you'll get there is that each strategy will be introduced and modeled for you in the next coming days, and you'll practice each strategy and build on your knowledge so that eventually you'll be ready to take on this practice independently. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.